Good afternoon and hello, everyone. My name is Rich Longo, and I'm your host, as always, for today's presentation. And today's topic is on asset management post COVID 19, presented by Flycast Partners' very own Bobby McCullough. Now, Bobby has well over 2 decades of selling, implementing, supporting a variety of solutions, including IT service, operations, financial, utilization, IT asset, infrastructure, change, expense management, and integration, as well as IT operations analytics. He has configured demonstration systems using JSON file ingestion through application API and Python, and has added value in multi-product engagements, providing overall clarity in solution views. His extensive experience in lean methodologies and proven record of designing and implementing more efficient and cost-effective procedures and technologies has been invaluable to our customers. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners offers best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, asset management, operations management, security, enterprise service management, and workload automation spaces, all using ITIL best practices. Our professional services team has well over 5,600 professional services engagements on site and remote. As an organization, we have well over 1,200, close to 1,300 regular customers throughout Canada, United States now. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Or visit our website, chat with our IT experts. Monday through Friday, they are happy to talk to you, to get you any data sheets, white papers, help you out with remote administration or any type of support needs that we're able to assist with, or just chat back and forth about whatever's on your mind and important to your organization. Also remind you that you can email us at info@flycastpartners.com. So with that, we're going to go ahead and turn this over to none other than Bobby McCullough and Kyle Hamilton. Bobby, I'll leave it up to you to get our presentation started today.
Thanks, Rich. Welcome, everybody. So today we're going to talk a bit about asset management post-COVID. I'm sure everybody's probably like me. You're sick of talking about COVID. You're sick of hearing about it. And I can say I think there's light at the end of the tunnel, because now we're talking about post-COVID. So the next step would be post-COVID. And so I think there's some light maybe here at the end of the tunnel. So what happened with asset management starting last year? Well, my wife is a really good example of what happened when COVID hit. My wife works for a organization that purchases rural hospitals and manages those hospitals as a group, taking advantage of what they can do, purchasing wise as a group and HR wise as a group, and so on. And so what happened to her when COVID hit last year? Well, the first thing she did was she called IT looking for a laptop. And that was happening all across the country. IT organizations were getting inundated with requests, if not for a laptop, maybe for a VPN that they could install on their home computer so that they could get their work done remotely while COVID began to settle down. And so what's changed? What's happened now? We're over a year past those events, the beginning of those events. So what's happened now with asset management? Really, COVID just put a spotlight on the need for good asset and endpoint management. The ability, asset management at its core is knowing what you've got, where it's located, and who's responsible for it. And while you could get by with maybe some spreadsheets of that prior to COVID, the number of remote devices or remote VPNs that are out that you're having to support, that all becomes very, very problematic when you're trying to do that from a spreadsheet. And so Ivanti has an asset manager solution that allows you to better manage those assets, to better understand what you've got, where it's located, and who's responsible for it. And so how asset management would help you here post-COVID is first you're going to assets kind of two sides of the same coin, physical as well as the financial. If we start with the financial, it's vendor management. It's knowing who your vendors are, understanding the relationship with that vendor through your scorecards, understanding your catalog items, which we're going to talk about in just a second, governance within your environment, understanding your contracts that you have in place. And so understanding when those contracts expire, understanding again, the nature of the relationship with that vendor to help you negotiate those contracts, understanding the line items on those contracts so that you can link back costs to your assets so that you understand total cost of ownership of those devices. So that's the first area where asset management helps. It allows you to get a foothold on the financial landscape of what's going on in your environment, and really set the stage for being able to provide that total cost of ownership answer on any of the assets that you're tracking. Now, if that's the financial side of the equation, what's the physical side? Well, the physical side are your assets, your hardware and your software. What they are, where they're located. Here, let's grab a good server here. Here's an Exchange server. Where is it located? Who's responsible for it? What is it? What's the CPU, its memory, all of that type of information that your discovery solution might provide. Ivanti's Asset Manager allows you to bring in multiple discovery solutions. And so the idea is that you're going to bring in that financial side of the equation so that you know what you've purchased, and then you bring in your discovery data so that you understand what's actually out there in your environment, and the system will marry those data sets up and provide you a reconciliation tab like we're seeing here, where yes, we've got it assigned to Andrew over in the UK, but actually Bill was the last person to use it over in the Salt Lake office. And so we know we've got something that we might need to correct here. That's an ongoing task, but again, that's how that process begins of bringing together both the physical as well as the financial side of the equation. Now, I mentioned governance, and so governance is really where asset management begins to reach out sort of into the rest of the organization, because without governance, your purchasing assets is a little bit like the Wild West. They can order anything and everything and they'll do it. And then it's your job to figure out how to support it. And so what the product catalog allows you to do is define those things that you're going to support, define those things that you're going to offer, define how you want to categorize those items within your environment. Is it a standard catalog item? What are you going to replace it with? How many do we want to keep in stock? When will you order these? How many do we want to reorder? What are we going to charge internally for that catalog item? So all of those attributes are a part of that catalog item. We've got the ability to look at our assets that are associated with that catalog item, and notice here from this perspective, we're seeing what's in production, what's assigned, what's in stock, what's on order. So you've got the complete life cycle of all of those assets right here available in the solution, so that you understand exactly where it is, where it's been, so that you know what to do with it at this point. Now, so what does the catalog allow us to do? The catalog allows us to link in with the service desk service catalog and present those requests that come through that service desk, present those requests as asset requests over on the asset side of the equation with the asset roles. So I can see here in this particular request, this is for the Chicago office. Someone's looking for a MacBook Pro, and I've got the ability here to select from my stock if I have inventory for that particular device. It knows what storage locations are available for that location, and it presents those in the list here so that I can easily grab those to fulfill this request. Once I grab it here and save the request, that record no longer appears in this list for anyone else. So it's no longer available to be selected. It's on an order. So now we begin sort of that life cycle, the next stage after receiving it from a purchase order. We're sort of beginning that life cycle of making that assignment. But what happens if we don't have this item in stock? What do we do if we need to order something? And so this is where we can actually bring in a purchase order. I have the ability to generate a purchase order right here from the screen. Now, we've got a lot of people on the call right now. I'm sure with this number of people on the call, many of you have your own procurement systems for managing these purchase orders. And so there's several ways to think about this. We can start the process here in the Ivanti solution and integrate this with your other procurement system and push this information over. The idea is to give you guys a single pane of glass, a single window for everything you need to know about your assets. You may have some of these processes, specifically the purchasing process, maybe contract management and those type of things that are happening over in another system, might even be managed by another group. And that's fine. Ivanti Asset Manager has an open API, so we can easily integrate with those solutions. So you'll be able to start your process wherever it makes sense within your organization, whether we're starting it here from a request or it happens outside the system. The main thing is you can push data back and forth so that you're not having to swivel chair any of your work. Everything is just being done in the one solution here. So let's dive a bit back into our hardware assets that we were talking about. So the solution is a little bit like a Rubik's Cube, where you can twist and turn the solution maybe to look at it from multiple perspectives. And so here on the detail page, I've got my catalog information. This is all the standard information for any time we have one of these particular items defined as an asset. We've got obviously who is responsible for it, where is it located, we've got a status. And one of the things that's very important is not just to know the status on a particular asset. You really have to know how that particular asset is being used. And that's where all of these other fields are available. Now, this is a standard form. This is the way the form looks out of the box. You've got the ability to modify this. Nearly all of these forms that we've been to, you've got the ability to modify them. So if there's something there that maybe you call it something different, or you need to track something that we hadn't already thought of, or maybe there's too much to track and you really don't need all of that, you can make all of those type of changes to the form so that you make the form yours so that it captures what you need. Notice in addition to those definitions for how the asset might be used, we also know when it went into service, when it was purchased, and what's our warranty on that. So that's key. If you were watching the screen as we were talking early on, we've got a dashboard here specifically dealing with those warranties. Very helpful to be notified and to know, what devices are coming up. And so that's something that you're able to track. We're able to integrate with barcoding solutions. So using that open API, obviously you can use a wedge scanner. That's just another way of providing keyboard entry. But you can also use handheld scanners, maybe in an inventory or storage location to help move inventory around, register it as received, and so on. And then you can integrate those with your asset manager solution to help provide ease of migrating that data. between those two solutions. So we mentioned earlier the discovery, being able to integrate with the discovery solution, understand any discrepancies between what you've assigned and what was discovered. You're also going to have access to your software information. Now, most discovery solutions are configurable, so you'll be able to tell the system, what you want it to pull back, what you want to see, and so you can define some of these things. But you're going to be able to see the software, obviously network cards. Ivanti is going to show you what other assets this user might have in the system. So it might be helpful from the asset management perspective. You need to talk to the owner, the one responsible. You'll be able to see a list of the other assets that user has. Relationships, upstream and downstream relationships. This is where you can begin to define that service map that the service desk team can use to help them perform root cause analysis. So very, very helpful to be able to manage this. Now, this is also something that's importable. Ivanti has a solution that can also gather this data as well. So you have the ability to either manually update this or bring this data in electronically if you can grab it. So that was sort of the physical, what it is, where is it located, what are its attributes, how is it connected, and then we've got the financial side. So we understand the contracts. Ivanti provides us a go-to button. You've seen me use those previously, where we can jump around and go to those records to get more details. Obviously, I can double-click here and get a summary. But the go-to allows us to jump over and get more detail. The vendor, what vendor did this particular asset come from? What scorecards have we registered for this particular asset? Here I can generate new scorecards as well. Now, I mentioned those scorecards earlier. Anytime you interact with a vendor, you've got the ability to register a scorecard. And so, when you're working on an asset, you can register, of course, a scorecard for how that asset's performed. Negotiating a contract, you can register a scorecard for that. Purchase orders, any type of interaction that you're going to have, you're going to be able to register that. And then those scorecards roll back up to an overall performance score for that vendor. So very helpful scorecards for negotiation. But further on with the financial side of the equation, do we need to build this out to any particular GL or department within the organization, or for either chargeback, showback, or budgeting purposes? You've got that capability right here within the solution. And I mentioned total cost of ownership. So as we receive this asset, and then as we perform maintenance on this asset from service desk, we're able to register financial transactions against the asset. And that allows us to get that total cost of ownership. So, no more, if you guys are operating on spreadsheets, you've got to pull the spreadsheet out. You've got to find the item on the spreadsheet to find out what you paid for it initially to get that cost. And then you got to go through your system and find the tickets that dealt with that, assuming that you actually put the serial number or the name of the item on your ticket, and go and find how much maintenance you performed to come up with this calculation. Here, it's a single click. I find my record. I find my total cost right here on the financial transactions. Very, very helpful when you've got to answer those type of questions. So journal, maybe you need to keep notes internally about these particular assets, so you'll be able to keep those notes and allow your staff members to see those. Add attachments. Here we've added a manual, a PDF. You can add URLs and things like that as well. You're going to be able to keep up with the life cycle of the asset. So where's it been, and who checked it out, where did it go to, and so on. So you'll be able to keep up with all of that. You're also going to be able to turn on audit history. Ivanti provides us this nice feature where you can select which of these objects you want to track. And then anytime you turn auditing on for an object, you can define which fields you want to track. And then the system will tell you when that field changed, who made the change, what type of change, and specifically what was changed. It's very, very helpful to understanding what's been going on in your environment, what's been changed on a record, how did it get changed, and so on. Now, that was the hardware side of the equation. There's actually a software side, because Ivanti Asset Manager sort of looks at software a little bit different than hardware. And the reason is because software is organized by titles. Here I've got SQL Server 2008, release 64. And then within this title, you're going to have links over to your contract line items for where you purchased this particular. See, I've got a.
Bobby, your audio keeps cutting out.
But has a quantity, obviously, and a cost as well. And so as you acquire this title, the entitlements will appear here, and then the total quantity will sum here on the total entitlement quantity field. And then as you deploy those, or the system discovers those out in your environment, those are going to be registered here under your entitlement assets, so you know where those software titles are installed. But it's also going to give you, it's going to decrement your total quantity by how many you've assigned, so that you know how many you've got available. So this allows you to do some license management, estate management within your environment. Now, I don't know that you want to do this for every software package, software title that you have, but there's going to be some important ones that you're going to want to track like that, especially Microsoft, Oracle, those type of things that you're at risk for audits. You definitely want to be able to keep up with that, and this provides you a fairly simple way to do that. So getting back, post-COVID. So again, what does all this have to do with post-COVID? This stuff is all much, much more important now because people are staying remote. I mentioned at the beginning of the call about my wife and how she went remote. They're now beginning to go back into the office, and she's still going to be remote for a period of time. And that's going to be across the board. You're going to see that through all organizations, everyone on the call. You're going to see it within yours if you're not already seeing it. And so having the ability to understand what's in your environment, what software packages are in your environment, which are deployed, because it's no longer going to be just as easy to, I'll have to walk over to so-and-so's office to do a quick inventory to see what's going on. It's no longer going to be that easy because that person's going to be across town or maybe an hour away working from home. So you're going to need to have this capability, the discovery capability. Ivanti's Endpoint Manager solution provides. Microsoft SCCM provides any of those type of discovery solutions to bring that data in and provide you the detail that you need around these assets, so that you can support them. So that when you've got an issue, that who is being affected, where the item may be, and all the details about that item, about that asset, so that you can help resolve the issue. So, Rich, we got done here a little early. Want to stop for a second and see if maybe there were any questions?
Yeah, no, not a problem. Folks, if you have any questions, type them in now. This is a good opportunity to get your questions answered with Bobby. He's happy to go through anything that you'd like to see or talk about anything you'd like to know about when it comes to Ivanti and the different aspects of asset management that the many different Ivanti tools offer. As you can see, it looks like he was using a couple different sections of Ivanti to demonstrate today. So there's a plethora of different capabilities within the Ivanti group of products that can help you with a lot of these challenges that you've been faced with after COVID, with all these additional assets and trying to figure out what things are how they're going to affect the financial bottom line. So if you have a question, please type it in. Bobby will answer that for you. And if you don't want to go ahead and type your question in, well, by all means, you can give us a call at 844-FlyCast. That's 844-359-2278. Or you can email us at info@flycastpartners.com or chat live with us during regular hours from 7:30 a.m. I'm sorry, 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Those guys would kill me if they knew I said that. So 8:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. They're standing by to answer your questions, get you data sheets, white papers, help you out with any question or training that you might need. Remote administration services. We can help you out. We can evaluate how you're using those tools today, as a matter of fact, and make some recommendations to make things run a little bit more efficiently for you. So, Bobby, it doesn't look like we've got anybody reaching out with any questions, right? Oh, here we go. Here's a question. And this comes from Archie. Archie wants to know, is the PO approval process accomplished here or through the organization's external purchasing system or environment?
That's a great question, and we can work with you either way. So if you already have an approval process and a system that manages that process, we can integrate with that solution again, so that you get all your answers here in this solution. If you don't have an approval process, then we can incorporate one with the management of those POs here.
Great question. Any other questions out there? Go ahead and type those in. Looks like here's another one. Here's one. Can we use Ivanti to manage cloud resources?
You sure can. Yeah, you're not limited to physical devices. You know, virtual devices are available as well as cloud, and so you can definitely bring those in. There are available connectors for some of the cloud providers to help bring that information in.
I guess the answer is, does this include AWS assets?
It certainly can. Certainly can. We can definitely bring that in.
Okay. Folks, any other questions? We do have plenty of time to answer more of your questions if you have them. If not, like I said, you can call us, you can chat with us, or you can email them to us. And Bobby, thank you for the presentation today. It's very much appreciated.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Rich.
You got a lot of thank yous coming in. You don't have a bunch of questions, but you're getting a flood of thank yous and great presentations. So that should make you feel good. Cool. You evidently explained it very well.
I'll have to call Mom and tell her.
There you go. All right. Folks, thank you again for joining us for another FlyCast Partners event. We appreciate you, and we're here for you should you need us. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to help you in any way that we can. As I stated, give us a call. You can chat with us. You can email us. And until our next podcast, I ask that each and every one of you please stay safe out there. And we look forward to seeing you next time around.